So Cyber Monday on TCG Player is now over, and Black Friday deals are pretty much all over for the weekend. So let's go ahead and take a look at the market and see how that's been affected from all the big sales and the big influx of purchases over the weekend. And I'm also going to show you guys my distributor backend and show you just how bare bones it is at distributor level right now. It's insane. All right, so first things first, let's talk about Surging Sparks booster boxes. These right now have not really moved since the last video when we thought that these were gonna move a little bit, but I think people were being a little bit smarter with their purchases throughout the weekend. So still about the same amount of listings here. We had 140 listings when we did this video the other day, and the lowest listed price of an actual sealed box is in that 205 to 210 range. So really no change with Surging Sparks booster boxes, but there is still none available at distributor level with either of my distributors, PhD or Southern Hobby. All right, so now let's talk about the Pikachu. The Pikachu also didn't really move over the weekend. Again, I think people were finding better places, which is smart. That's great. People were finding better places to put their money at the moment in time for that sale. And I think still the same listing information is what we have here, around $500. So anywhere between $480 and like $520 was the sweet spot is what we were seeing the other day. And it looks about the same. There are a couple outliers here for above that at $450. Again, they might have messaged the seller to kind of get pictures potentially. If the centering was better, maybe they were willing to overpay on them, something like that. So a couple things can go into factor like that, but still no overall big crazy movement in the last few days on the Pikachu after that big price jump back up to the $500 mark. Latias still same thing, kind of hovering around that $260 to $300 price point. No big change. There is a little bit of range though when it comes to the sales data. So a lot of sales between $250 and $300, they range everywhere, but a lot of them still kind of in this $260 range as a sweet spot. So I do think that the market price is definitely more consistent on this card than the other day, because if you remember the video on Friday that we released, there was a bigger range. It was like from low 230 all the way up to 300 on sales data for Latias. So definitely more dialed in this 264 range that is the actual market price of the card. All right, Milotic EX still kind of where we left it on Friday, still in that 140 to 150 range, but we have some sales that are going upwards here, up as high as 171 and still a few in the 170 range, but there are still a lot in that 140 to 150 range being sold. So not a whole lot of change with Milotic, but it's also because there's not a whole lot of listings on Milotic as well. So if you guys scroll down just a little bit, the main copies down here, once you buy through the first couple, these are $200. So if these low copies sell, you can see the market price kind of jump up this probably real quick. It's going to step up again if it sells through without more listings coming across. So this is kind of a key number to look at. If we see this number get bigger, the price will stabilize and potentially go back down. But if we see more or less listings, this is only going to keep going up. So Milotic kind of on the move, but me personally, I do think that this is the best artwork in the set. But that is obviously personal preference. All right, so one card from Stellar Crown I do want to talk about is the Squirtle. Now, the Squirtle went on a little bit of a crazy run here. If you guys look, Squirtle did this just absolute crazy jump from November 26th. We were $40, and now look at the sales data on this. They're selling in the 50s to 60s. So that's a pretty big price jump just in a few days for the Squirtle. So I do think that the Cyber Monday and Black Friday deals for the 10% back were affecting this. I do believe a decent amount of copies were being sold over the last few days. You look here for the second, the first, that's a lot of copies that we actually have to go down to another page on it. So that is a decent amount for a card that is in that $40 to $50 range being sold. So definitely a decent side movement on this Squirtle. So keep an eye on this. All right, so now Bubble Mew is on the move again. Bubble Mew is still just going up and up and up and up. And the lowest listing here now, it has finally reached $300 for the Bubble Mew, and the sales data will show it too. We had one that sold for $340, $320, $275, $295. So the price is just all over the place for these copies. And again, look at how many were purchased on the site here during the Cyber Monday sale yesterday and on the day before during the 31st during the weekend sale. So just a ton of copies being sold around that $300 mark. So card is moving insane, and we don't have any of this at distro level anymore either for Paldea and Fates between PhD and Southern Hobby. So that's going to make some of the cards in this set start to move as well, not just the Bubble Mew. So keep an eye on Paldea and Fates as a whole if you guys are looking to pick up singles for that set. All right, so let's look at Charizard from Pokemon 151 next. Not a whole lot of big changes here when it comes to sales price. We were looking around that $200 mark over the sale throughout the weekend. So there's a couple up to 210, one at 220, but still kind of hovering between 190 and 215. That's kind of what we were seeing on Friday. So no real big changes on the Charizard EX. I think people have kind of pumped the brakes a little bit on 151 because of those Blooming Waters boxes coming soon. Now, what we know is pre-orders for us on the back end. Actually, I'm going to show you guys here on my Pokemon back end. You guys can see here some of the stuff that's coming up for pre-order, and our pre-orders actually end here on the 8th of December. So you guys are going to see some numbers for the Blooming Waters boxes coming out at the distro level. So a lot of stores might start listing pre-orders at the end of December for that. So that'll be a good indicator on what to expect on Pokemon 151 when those get reprinted and we get allocations for that. You might see some of these cards go in the upwards or downwards trajectory based on the numbers that we get allocated. So if we're allocated almost nothing, you guys are going to see a lot of these cards start ticking up. Not just Charizard, you're going to see like Zapdos start ticking upwards. You're going to start seeing the Venusaur and the Blastoise start moving again. But I think that the Venusaur, or sorry, not the Venusaur, the Zapdos and the Alakazam are probably the most underpriced cards that have a lot of value in them. Also, Erica's Invitation right now, that card's sitting super, super cheap in the $16 range. And I think that this is just also an amazing, beautiful card. One of the few like full art supporters in the set as an SAR. There are a couple, but definitely a great artwork on that. And again, all the SARs, guys, have the same pull rate as one another. So there's no difference in terms of how hard it is to pull one over the other. They all are equally the same hard to pull if you're looking for each one individually. All right, so let's look at Brilliant Stars booster boxes, guys. These are going crazy right now too. And the lowest listing on here, I really hate that TCG Player refuses to get these stupid 36-pack lots off of here. But if you scroll down far enough to get to where like the first regular booster box is, guys, you're looking at about $200, $204 with shipping. $204 for a booster box that you guys were able to get for like $160 to $170 less than 5 days ago. That is a huge move upward. So a lot of people were pouring money into Brilliant Stars, and Brilliant Stars isn't the only one. Evolving Skies was in the 800s, in the mid 800s, and this one has shot up like crazy. Lowest listed booster box now on TCG Player is $930 before tax. This is insane. This is a wild move upwards. If you look at the sales data here, selling for $920. I wonder how far back it'll let me scroll, but if you guys scroll far back enough, look at the move that we had here. In the middle of the month, like a week ago, you guys were still seeing some of them sell for $750, $800, low 800s. So there were some sales in the low 800s, but from low 800s to $930 in a week is an insane price jump for a booster box. Yes, Evolving Skies is very, very popular, but just for any product in general to move that much in such a short period of time, I think a lot of people were using that 10% back for a lot of Evolving Skies product. Fusion Strike's another one. Fusion Strike boxes, we could have gotten these for $220 for the longest time, $215, $200. If you guys checked Facebook Marketplace, these were at $200. People getting rid of these pretty consistently. But now if you go and you look at the lowest booster box price, not loose packs, guys, $300 almost out the door. $300 is insane. That is a big, big price jump from that 200 to 220 range that we saw. And if you look at the sales data, they are selling for that price, $291, $295, $295. That is a huge price jump. And also from this set, not just Fusion Strike, but the Gengar, guys, from this set is moving like crazy. The Gengar from this set, guys, moving still in the upwards trajectory, over $400 raw now. $400 raw. Lowest listing on TCG Player for a raw mint copy is $432. That is a big move for the Gengar. All right, so last, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at my distribution backend for Southern Hobby. Now, on here, I am actually having selected all of the warehouses, but typically I get stuff from the supply warehouse, I can get from New York, and I can get from Nashville, typically if we have anything. But I have all of them checked off just in case to put in perspective how distribution has nothing right now, guys. No booster boxes on this list. No sleeved boosters on this list. There is like nothing anywhere. Now, they might come out with a bundle and email us very soon on that stuff. But as of right now, I cannot get any booster boxes, and I'm not the only one that uses Southern Hobby or PhD. So if you guys didn't pick up that stuff, for those of you that do have distro, you guys aren't getting it now. You had to get onto that the last couple of weeks while those deals were still around. So hopefully later in December, we'll see some more product come available before the holiday actually happens on Christmas. And see what else comes about. But as of right now, guys, it is super, super dry at Southern Hobby. I couldn't get my PhD backend to load here, but it's pretty much the same after talking to my rep. There's almost nothing available at the distributor level, guys. So if you guys can find deals still on TCG Player or Facebook Marketplace or your local game stores, I highly recommend, if there are decent deals of stuff that you are wanting to pick up for the holiday season that is still within your budget, I definitely recommend you go pick those up. I do not recommend overpaying on boxes and stuff for prismatic evolutions. Just wait till the release, guys. Go out and look for different deals. Don't be spending $120 on pre-orders of ETBs for all these websites that are just price gouging people right now at $120. They are trying to make their money because the allocations are super small, but I just don't think it's a good idea to pre-order that product super early. I think you'll have a better chance if you're just patient to get those products at better prices instead of having to overpay, especially if you're opening the product and not keeping it sealed. So hopefully you guys got some good information in today's video, and hope you had a great holiday weekend. I'll see you guys on the next video or the next live.